Shrout, snap, drop, scan, swing it out of the backfield. Grab is made, running across the 30, 35. First down out there for Alex Fontenot. 12-19 to play. Swing pass out of the backfield, caught by Fontenot left side. He's got a couple of blockers. He splits a couple of defenders out across the 40 between the hash and numbers. Hand off to Fontenot. He darts to the left, got out of a tackle. He's got room, 35, 30, blocker, 25, 20, cuts to his right, clutches the football along the hash to the far side, and finally he's bulldogged down at the 17-yard line. Well, there was one positive from the Colorado Buffaloes, 49-10 loss to Oregon right there. Seeing number 8 back out there. Alex Fontenot got hurt in the second game of the season against Air Force. Hadn't been out. We heard he was going to dress. It was great to see him out there and get a few snaps and kind of get a rhythm going. Andy Lindahl was on the sideline for the broadcast. It was good seeing number 8 out there.
It was really good to see him. He had that long run that we just showed, and he just has got a great feel. That one was one of those plays that we talked about where it was blocked up. There's one guy that got through. He pulls out of the tackle, sees the backside, got around the corner. I just like his feel for things. He attacks the line a little bit, gets guys to come up, then he bounces out. You know what I mean? You could just see some of the maturity as a player that he has that helps set guys up to lead to bigger gains and maybe even what it's blocked for sometimes.
That's a great way of putting it. There's a seasoned kind of nature or kind of how he handles himself when he gets the football. You know, one of the things that didn't help things, we hadn't seen it all season long. Austin Johnson, Van Wells were alternating at center out there. Boy, the snaps were a huge issue for Colorado.
Yeah, and you and I are used to seeing some to the left in particular of Shrout. That's been a problem a few times. I thought Van Wells has done a better job of not having so much an issue with it. Now, Coach did tell us told you specifically after the game that the quarterbacks are mentioning it. We thought maybe the wind was playing in, but Mark, I was on the field the whole game. It was I'll say this, it was a very weird game because I would see trash blowing in the north end, and in the south end we weren't feeling any breezes.
Right.
So it was tough to tell what the conditions were all around the field. But it is just a 5-yard snap, and there was one point where even JT Shrout was getting into it a little bit with Coach Sanford about why were the snaps coming early when he didn't look ready for it. It looked like he was trying to say I was trying to audible something. There just was a lot that was off in that second half, and the snaps were just unfortunately the start.
You know, whatever you do for a living, right, there's a rhythm you kind of find. You didn't sense the Buffs had a rhythm in this ballgame. Now that offensive line, maybe the snaps were bad. I thought overall, JT Shrout generally had a pretty good pocket. There's not a lot of pressure on him in this ballgame.
This young offensive line, I think, has gotten better and better each game. Now, look, sometimes it's been a small improvement that's tough to tell in the stats. People will look at the score, and they will say what's going on. But there's been throwing lanes. I watch in the end zones because of the tight sidelines here at Folsom. You can see the throwing lanes that they're doing a better job of creating, and they have given him a cleaner pocket. He's not been getting hit as much. That offensive line is coming along.
Yeah, they did a relatively nice job, ran the ball relatively effectively. You look for kind of some small positive to take away from it. There's at least a couple for the Buffaloes. They fall 49-10 to number 8 Oregon. Afterward, we heard from a number of players in the postgame press conference. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
Really just rehab every day, just getting at it, trying to, get my body back to 100% so I could be back on the field 100%. But yeah, it was tough that whole time. I'm just glad that I could go out there and, just do my thing. Yeah, we're just really close in that room, so it's like we just feed off of each other. So even though one of us may go down, we know that the dude behind us, he could do what I could do, maybe even do it better. So there's never like really a step loss in our rotation. So I think that's what we pride ourselves on, in our room at least.
They hit us with a bunch of stuff we just haven't seen before. I mean, in game, I feel like we adjusted well to the things that were on tape, but they had some new wrinkles for us and they executed them very well. Like, being an older guy, seeing different things, like, that's the one thing that I've, preached. Like, complementary football is the best thing for us. Like, we understand our lapses on both offense and defense, but we're able to come together and put a couple series together collectively. It's good football for us. Sadly, we just haven't been able to do it consistently over the season.
Well, there's some of the players after the Buffaloes' 49-10 loss to number 8 Oregon here at Folsom Field. We continue with Andy Lindahl, our sideline reporter. Gary and I just talked a little bit about this previous segment about the job that Mike's got to do now down the stretch. I mean, Andy, there are 3 weeks left in this season. He's done a real good job of energizing this thing and keeping guys together. But when it starts to get bad like this, as things start to splinter a little bit, that can be awful tough.
Yeah, they do. And look, we saw some guys getting after each other at the end of that game. JT Shrout was talking to his centers, and some guys on defense were talking to each other, and so on and so forth. Here's the thing I would ask of the players, and I get it's frustrating, right? It's not been a fun year for anybody if we're just going to be blatantly honest about it. I really like Coach Mike Sanford, okay? He
Amen.
brings an
Yep.
energy. And I think he's come in and he's tried to take a group of guys that maybe don't know him so well and he doesn't know them so well, but he's tried to love them up a little bit, as coaches talk about. He's tried to create as much a family environment as he can in what's a very difficult situation, okay? I'd ask the players, play for him.
Yeah.
If you guys are
Yep.
having some problems with each other, that's fine. It happens in locker rooms all the time, especially when the season's going rough. Play for Mike Sanford, because if it's not here, I think the guy can coach somewhere. His plays have worked, his designs have been good, but I've loved the way he's handled it as a leader, which you speak a lot about.
Yep.
I would have asked the players play for him.
You know, here's the other thing, and I've made this plea a number of times, and I've said, I know the garbage is flowing around us right now. You can tell when it is out here.
My comments kind of
Yeah.
bring that on.
Yeah, exactly right. But, you know, the future is in front of us right now. The change is being made. Rick George, my guess is by around Thanksgiving, we're going to see a new coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. The fans have continued to turn out. There was almost 43,000 at this ball game. One home game left on a 26 against Utah. Fans, you've done a great job out there continuing to support these student athletes through a very tough set of circumstances. He's Andy Lindahl, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Buffs fall in football to number 8 Oregon, 49-10. Coming up next, we're going to talk season opening game for the women's basketball team here in the Stampede.